Ever feel like you're hitting the gym hard, but not quite seeing the muscle gains you're hoping for?
Oh, absolutely. It's a common frustration.
Yeah, and that's actually what we're diving into today.
Okay, I'm interested.
We're taking a close look at a review of D-bal.
D-bal.
Yeah, it's a supplement, and it claims to be a natural alternative to Dianabol.
Ah, interesting. Dianabol, that's serious stuff.
Yeah, it's a pretty potent anabolic steroid. So D-bal is trying to position itself as, the healthier way to get those big muscle gains.
Right, tapping into that desire for fast results, but without, the risks.
Exactly. And it's not just marketing hype either. We're actually looking at a personal experience with D-bal.
Oh, okay. Who are we hearing from?
So the review is written by Rachel Nail, and she's a certified registered nurse anesthetist.
Wow. Okay, so she's coming at this with some serious medical knowledge.
Exactly.
That's really valuable, especially in the world of fitness supplements.
For sure. So I guess the first thing is, what exactly is D-bal?
Right, let's get into it. So D-bal is marketed as, like we said, this natural alternative to Dianabol.
Which, just to remind everyone, Dianabol is the steroid methandrostenalone.
Right, and we're talking some major muscle building potential there, but with some really serious potential downsides too.
Yeah, you don't mess around with that stuff.
No, no. So D-bal claims it can replicate those muscle building effects, but naturally.
Okay, how? What's the mechanism there?
So they say it works by enhancing protein synthesis, which is obviously crucial for building muscle, and also nitrogen retention.
Right, two very important parts of muscle growth.
Absolutely. And a big selling point is that they claim it doesn't come with the harmful side effects of steroids.
Which is a big deal for a lot of people.
Huge, especially the potential liver and kidney damage that you see with steroid use. That's a major concern.
So how does D-bal supposedly do all that?
Well, they've got this blend of ingredients, and they say each ingredient is specifically chosen for its muscle-boosting properties.
Such as?
Well, one of the main ingredients is whey protein concentrate.
Right, which is pretty standard in the fitness world.
Oh, yeah, it's a staple for a reason. It's packed with amino acids, which are essential for muscle repair and growth.
The building blocks.
Exactly, but they don't stop there. They also add Tribulus terrestris.
Okay, and what's that?
It's the plant extract, and it's believed by some to boost testosterone levels.
And testosterone is a major factor in muscle mass and strength.
Exactly. Now, the research on Tribulus terrestris is a little mixed. Some studies show it can be effective, but others, not so much.
Interesting.
Yeah, what's really interesting is that some studies suggest it might work better when it's combined with resistance training, which of course is what Rachel was doing.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a magic solution on its own.
Right. It seems like it might work best as a way to enhance your existing efforts.
To kind of give you that extra push.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, you've got BCAAs, branched-chain amino acids.
Another gym bag staple.
Oh, yeah. These are really popular. And for good reason. They can really help with muscle recovery and reducing fatigue during those intense workouts.
Which is so important.
Absolutely, because you can't build muscle if you're constantly sore or too tired to train.
So they're really hitting multiple angles of this muscle building process, both the building itself and the recovery afterwards.
It seems that way. They're going for a comprehensive approach with this formula.
So they're really trying to cover all the bases with this formula. But does it actually work?
Right. That's the million-dollar question.
Exactly. And that's where Rachel's experience comes in.
And her perspective is so interesting here because she's not just a random person trying this out.
Right, she's got that medical background.
Yeah, as a certified registered nurse anesthetist, she's going to be looking at this differently than someone who isn't in the medical field.
Absolutely. And she actually describes herself as a hard gainer, which I think a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, that feeling of putting in the work but not seeing the results you want. It's frustrating.
Totally. So she's been there, she gets it, and she's actually very upfront about being skeptical of D-bal initially.
Which makes sense, especially given her experience with other products.
She said she had tried other things in the past, but they were either ineffective or came with unwanted side effects.
So she was understandably cautious, but she decided to give D-bal a shot.
She did. So what did her regimen look like? How was she taking it?
She followed the recommended dosage, which is 3 capsules daily, and she took them about 45 minutes after her workouts.
Okay, so timed around her training.
Exactly. But, and this is important, she didn't just rely on D-bal alone.
Right, she wasn't expecting it to do all the work for her.
Exactly. She was combining it with a calorie-rich diet specifically designed to support muscle growth. She was sticking to a regular exercise routine, and she was making sure to get enough sleep.
So really focusing on a holistic approach.
Yes, exactly. And that's so key for anyone considering any kind of supplement. It's about enhancing the work you're already doing, not replacing it.
It's not about taking a magic pill and then just sitting on the couch.
No, definitely not. You got to put in the work.
So did she see results?
Okay, so she reported some really interesting observations. At first, the changes were subtle. She noticed a bit more energy, things like that.
Okay, but I think too dramatic.
Right, at least not initially. But then, as she continued taking D-bal, she started noticing a real difference in her strength and endurance.
That's huge.
Absolutely. It meant she could push herself harder during her workouts, lift heavier weights, go for longer.
Which is often the key to breaking through those plateaus.
For sure. If you can train harder and recover faster, you're going to see better results.
So she's feeling stronger, she's got more endurance. What about actual muscle gains, though?
Okay, so she did report an increase in muscle mass. She specifically mentioned seeing a difference in her arms and chest.
Those are some key areas for a lot of people.
For sure. And she also mentioned a change in her overall body composition. She felt like she had lost some body fat and gained more lean muscle.
That's really impressive, especially considering she was starting from a place of struggling to gain muscle in the first place.
It is impressive. And something else that she highlighted was that she didn't experience any negative side effects.
Which is always a concern with supplements.
It's a huge concern, especially for someone like her who had had bad experiences with other products in the past. But with D-bal, she said she didn't have any issues.
That's definitely a point in its favor. Okay, so we've talked about the purported benefits of D-bal. Faster muscle gains, increased strength, reduced muscle soreness, and stripping away extra body fat.
Right. And Rachel's experience seems to support some of those claims.
She does seem to have had a really positive experience. But, it's important to look at this critically, too. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first of all, it's just one person's experience.
Right. What works for one person might not work for everyone.
Exactly. We all respond to things differently, and there are so many factors that can influence someone's results.
Absolutely. So let's break these benefits down one by one, starting with faster muscle gains. Do you think it's realistic to say that D-bal was the sole reason for her muscle growth?
It's hard to say for sure. I mean, it's possible that D-bal played a role, but we have to consider all the other changes she made too. The new exercise routine, the improved diet, her consistency, those all likely contributed to her muscle growth as well.
Right. It's like trying to isolate one variable in a very complex equation.
Exactly.
What about her increased strength, though? Could D-bal be responsible for that?
It's possible some of the ingredients in D-bal, like we talked about with the Tribulus terrestris, have been linked to increased strength.
And the whey protein, too, right?
Right, that's providing the building blocks for those muscles. Plus, if D-bal was helping her recover faster, that could definitely contribute to strength gains too.
It makes sense. If you're not as sore, you can train harder more often.
Exactly, it all ties together.
Okay, so that's strength. What about reduced muscle soreness? That's another one of the purported benefits.
Right, and that's a big one for a lot of people, that soreness can be a real drag.
Totally. So is there any reason to think D-bal could help with that?
Well, it does contain MSM, which is known for its anti-inflammatory properties. So it's possible that the MSM could be helping to reduce some of that post-workout inflammation and soreness.
And if you're not as sore, you're more likely to stick with your workouts, right?
Exactly. It can make a big difference in terms of consistency.
Okay, and then the last one we talked about was stripping away extra body fat. Is that really a thing with D-bal, or is that pushing it?
So D-bal isn't marketed as a fat burner specifically. It's important to remember that.
Right.
But if it's helping to build more muscle mass, that can indirectly lead to fat loss.
Because muscle burns more calories than fat, even at rest.
Exactly. So by increasing your muscle mass, you're essentially boosting your metabolism.
Which can then lead to more fat burning over time.
Exactly. Now, again, it's important to keep in mind all the other factors at play here. Rachel's diet and exercise were likely playing a significant role in any body recomposition she experienced.
It always comes back to that holistic approach. You can't just rely on one thing, like a supplement.
No, it takes a combination of factors working together to really see those significant, lasting changes.
Okay, so we've gone through this whole review. We've analyzed the claims, looked at the ingredients, considered Rachel's experience. What's the takeaway? Is D-bal worth trying?
That's the question, isn't it? And unfortunately, there's no easy answer. It really depends on the individual and their goals.
Because there's no magic muscle-building pill, sadly.
Definitely not. But I think Rachel's experience does suggest that D-bal could potentially be a helpful tool for some people, especially those who, like her, have struggled to gain muscle in the past.
Right. It might give you that extra edge, but it's not going to do the work for you.
Exactly. And it's crucial to approach any supplement with realistic expectations. Don't think you can just pop a pill and then skip the gym and eat whatever you want.
Right. Those fundamental things are still crucial. A good diet, regular exercise, enough sleep. Those are non-negotiables.
Absolutely. And I would always recommend talking to your doctor or a registered dietitian before starting any new supplement regimen, just to be safe. They can help you weigh the potential benefits and risks and make sure it's right for you.
Yes, 100%. Safety first, always.
For sure.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up this deep dive into D-bal. It's been a fascinating conversation.
I agree. Always interesting to explore these different products and see what the science has to say.
Absolutely. And hopefully our listeners found it informative and helpful as they navigate their own fitness journeys.
Definitely.
And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a deep dive. We're constantly exploring new topics, analyzing the latest trends, and having these important conversations about health and fitness.
We are. It's a never-ending journey of learning and discovery.
That's right, and we're in it together. Thanks for listening, everyone.